Good evening and welcome to our junior parent night. We are excited to be able to have this evening with you all tonight, to be able to share some information that's going to be helpful in helping your students start to plan for senior year, think about those post-secondary options. We are very glad that we had already planned to have this meeting virtually so that we can still be able to do this as planned this evening with our having a digital day today. So I do want to note that this meeting will be recorded, so you can review it at a later time if you would like to go back and do so.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Jackson, and I support students' last name A through CQ.
My name is Christine Novelli, and I'm the counselor who helps students with last names CR through HON.
Hey, I'm Jackie Hatcher. I have last names HOO through MERC.
Hey, I am Olivia Young. I support last names MERD through SAR.
And my name is Carissa Adam. I support students at the very end of the alphabet, last names SAS through Z. We're each going to split up this presentation a little bit so you can hear from each of us. And I'm going to start us off with these first couple of slides. So thinking about wrapping up high school and moving towards senior year, let's just quickly review graduation requirements. You can see on this chart that for English, math, and science, students need 4 units in each particular subject area, 3 in social studies. You can also see on the right side of this chart the specific required classes for each subject area. Students also need a half a credit of health and a half a credit of personal fitness. And then any combination 3 units of career tech, fine arts, or modern language. Now, it is very important to note that while modern language is not a specific high school graduation requirement, it is a standard admissions requirement for most four-year colleges for students to take at least 2 units of the same modern language. The more selective colleges do prefer for students to have 3 units of a modern language. So we do encourage our students to take 3 units if they are planning on being college bound. Additionally, forced elective credits are required for graduation in order to end up for those 23 required total units. So moving forward for registration for next school year, our teachers are currently making recommendations for the next course in sequence for each of the academic core areas. I would encourage, if you have questions or if your student has questions about courses for next school year in the core areas, that the teachers are the best resource if you would like to ask questions. They are really working hard to appropriately make recommendations based on their experience with your student this school year. Students are going to be receiving information about elective registration next week. The elective window registration is February 6th through the 12th. I would encourage you and your student to visit the SKG website, where we have a lot of detailed information on our course offerings. There will also be an elective video for you and your student to view together, so that way you can help your student make an informed decision while they're going through and choosing their electives for next school year. Following the registration window, we will have a drop add window for students to make additional changes if needed, April 14th through May 5th. I want to make sure that you do know that May 5th is a hard deadline, so no changes following this May 5th deadline will be allowed for students to be able to make electives following that. We do have Miss Erin James, our curriculum administrator. She is overseeing the registration process and is a great resource for us to be able to use. Students interested in dual enrollment, we had our mandatory parent-student meeting for those interested in dual enrollment last week. Understanding that some students may not have been able to attend that meeting, or some parents might not be able to have attended that meeting. So we do have that meeting posted on our high school website. We do want to make sure that any student interested in dual enrollment view that presentation along with their parents. You can also download and print out the dual enrollment contract and the dual enrollment checklist. We must have a signed dual enrollment contract signed by parent and student for each student who's going to participate in dual enrollment for next school year. Students who have questions for the dual enrollment process, we will have counselors available throughout the month of February during all lunches in the main hall collab space that's across from the counseling office. So if a student does have a question, please encourage your student to visit the counselor during that time, Wednesdays in February. Now, something we are very excited about is that we will be holding junior conferences, individual junior conferences with each junior during the month of February. So we're going to have a junior class meeting next Tuesday. The information that is going to be presented is going to be very similar to the information being presented this evening, so that students and parents are all on the same page. And during this meeting, students will be making appointments for their junior conferences. If a student does not make an appointment during this time, then the link to be able to book conferences is going to be posted on eClass, so that way they can continue to have that opportunity to make that appointment. We are, like I mentioned, going to meet individually with each and every junior. We're going to review progress towards graduation, talk about senior year, talk about those post-secondary options, really get their minds thinking about what they're wanting to do following graduation. We want to make sure that students come prepared so we can make the best use of our time. So I really want to encourage you to talk with your students about any questions that they might want to ask while they're meeting with us. So this is a really great opportunity for us to have some of that face-to-face time with our students.
Thank you, Miss Adam. Again, I'm Mrs. Novelli, and I'm going to touch on the different options our students have after graduating from high school. We know that some form of training or education after high school increases their earning potential for years to come. So our goal, and I know yours as well, is to successfully launch our students into the next phase of their lives, being one of the 3 E's, either enrolled, enlisted, or employed. So let's get into it. First, we'll just discuss our military options. There are 6 branches of the military, each with a different focus. Those include the Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, and Coast Guard. There are full-time options, including enlisting right out of high school or entering as an officer. Being an officer requires a 4-year degree, and students can enroll in an ROTC program in college, military academy, or officer training school. Those part-time options include serving in the reserves. In order to be eligible to serve in the military, students must have a high school diploma, minimum ASVAB scores, and U.S. citizenship. Students who go into the military reap a lot of benefits, including free job training, college tuition assistance in the form of the GI Bill, a living salary, housing, health and dental benefits, and the opportunity to travel. We will actually offer the ASVAB on campus at Seconder on February 11th. We'll cover more information on that on the next slide. The ASVAB will be available for juniors and seniors to take on February 11th. Students can register if they're interested by scanning the QR code. Then ASVAB is a standardized test that includes science, math, language, and can help identify areas of career strengths. It is in no way a commitment to the military, and can even be used as a career strengths inventory. For our students who may be interested in diving right into the world of work or learning a skilled trade, an apprenticeship might be an excellent option. Our workforce is aging and changing, and there are large gaps in the skilled trades that employers are looking to fill. An apprenticeship is an opportunity to receive training in a specific skilled trade at no cost while being paid. The average starting apprenticeship wage is about $15 an hour, and the average starting salary after completion is about $70,000 a year. When we post this presentation to our second year counseling website, you'll be able to click on the links that are shared on this slide for more information about apprenticeship programs in Georgia. So we encourage you to check that out. We also wanted to share with you some more information about our state and local workforce development initiatives. Included here are links to the Atlanta Ironworkers Apprenticeship Program. Georgia Power has a lot of great career opportunities. The independent electrical contractors have an excellent training program and really great earning potential. We also have the Masonry Training Program, and locally, the Mechanical Trades Institute. The Goodwill of North Georgia provides job skills training as well. These will all be linked on our website when the presentation is posted.
Thanks, Ms. Novelli. I'm Jackie Hatcher, and I'm going to pick it up talking about technical colleges, which is probably one of Georgia's best kept secrets that we are now going to shed some light on. So technical colleges, there are two ways that students can utilize technical colleges. First being that they go and they pursue a degree program. Some have certificates and diplomas that they can add on to those degrees. Programs can be anywhere between 18 months, 2 years, on average, sometimes 4. The second way that they can use technical colleges is go to get just their core credits and then transfer those to the 4-year university. Technical colleges in Georgia have 27 core credits that can transfer fully. To be admitted, a student must have their high school diploma, but there is no minimum GPA requirement, and they do not require the 2 years of world language. You do have to have a qualifying test score. They do accept the SAT, which our juniors will be taking in March at second year, but they also have an in-house test for technical colleges called the AccuPlacer that you can schedule with them. There's so many perks, but one of them is that it is very, very affordable per credit, option close to home. So students could use the Hope or Zell Miller Scholarship, which Ms. Young will talk about if they're transferring credits. They have programs that address our high demand careers in Georgia. These have lots and lots and lots of openings. They offer above average pay because they just need people in these positions. On the next slide, the Hope Career Grant is what would pay for those. So because they're in such high demand, the Hope Career Grant could cover the entire cost of these in-demand career programs. And so here are some examples on the slide. And then, of course, when we post this, there's a link here that you can also look at. So technical colleges, because of they address the high demand career fields, they have close to a 99% graduation rate. So definitely not anything to ignore, because this might be a great option for some of our students. Now we're going to go on and talk about the college admission process. I'll talk about what they look for in building a college list, and then Dr. Jackson's going to talk about the other steps. So what do colleges look for exactly? We get that question a lot. So the primary factors are students' grades. So that's their GPA, their grade point average. Their test scores. So that could be their SAT, their ACT, their AccuPlacer. And then the rigor of classes, and that is especially important for some of our very competitive colleges to get into. What I mean by that in Georgia, those would be like our Georgia Tech, our UGA, Emory. Additional factors, that's not all they look at. They look at a student's extracurricular activities, and we think that quality over quantity is better, that they are heavily invested in, a few or a handful rather than dabble in a dozen. Their essays, which they will write their senior year. And we'll hopefully get off the ground some different workshops. I know that that is part of the curriculum in their 12th grade literature class. Letters of recommendation, they can get those from their teachers, they can get those from a counselor, and we have sheets that they can fill out that help us write the best, most personalized letter on their behalf. Colleges love leadership, they love community service, just any kind of involvement in the community, and of course, demonstrated interest in their college. So it's great. Colleges are looking at students more holistically, not just academics. And so, one thing make up for another. Next slide, please. How to build your college list. So we encourage students to think about 3 different types of colleges. So the first would be their safety school. So colleges which they feel like will be a shoo-in to get into. And those are great because they usually have rolling admissions. So they'll get those answers probably first. And that's a great confidence boost. Some match colleges, so that would be their GPA, their test scores, other things look very similar to students that have already been admitted. And then some reach colleges might be a dream school that is heavily or highly competitive to get into. So you're not exactly sure how that would turn out, but we still want students to, shoot for the stars and try to achieve their dreams. And then what to consider when choosing a college. So the great thing about this is that it is a very individualized process. And I feel like every student would rank order these differently, but they want to consider the size and diversity of the student body. That's a big one. Location. Do you want to be close to home and save that money on housing, or do you want to go far away? In Georgia, topography wise, we have mountains, we have city, we have beach. So you can go pretty much anywhere. Campus life, there are different aspects of campus life that might be important to a student. Graduation and retention rates is a big one. And then of course, the scholarship opportunity. Some colleges have more to give merit wise or financial wise. And then we definitely encourage you to get a feel for the campus, taking a tour, talking to admissions counselor, all of those you can, if you go to the admissions site of that college, you can figure out a good time and place and way to achieve those. Also going to college fairs. If we have one at Seckinger, we will advertise it, but we also advertise the ones that are in the area. And that is just getting, an idea of a lot of colleges all at once. Now I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Jackson.
Thank you, Mrs. Hatcher. So again, I am Renee Jackson, and I will be speaking to you all about specifically about the University System of Georgia. So USG consists of all the public colleges and universities in the state. Students can search for colleges as well as sort by major using the links that we provide in this presentation. Additionally, we will show students how to search for colleges and universities during our classroom guidance sessions that we will hold next week. There are certain USG graduation requirements for high school students to meet. Mrs. Adam alluded to this a little bit earlier, but just a reminder that foreign language, American Sign Language, computer science classes are not required to graduate. However, those are a requirement if your student plans to attend a four-year college. The more competitive colleges recommend a minimum of 3 credits in that area. So keep that in mind. Next slide, please. All right, four-year colleges use the SAT and ACT exams to determine college readiness. Some are still test optional. However, I encourage our students to research the requirements needed to gain acceptance into their desired school. I recommend that students begin taking these exams spring semester, junior year, so that will be this semester. And then we will offer the SAT to all juniors in March. And there's no need to register for that. The students will already be identified as long as they are classified as a junior this semester. And then some of the college will super score. So keep that in mind. And what this means is that they will take the highest score from each section. Again, just keep that in mind. If your student qualifies for free or reduced lunch, they may request a fee waiver in the counseling canopy, and they don't have to have an appointment for this. Usually we can provide this information either before school or during lunch. Those are the most convenient times. But again, if they have free or reduced lunch, they can certainly request a fee waiver, and they can take each exam twice for free. And then additionally, if your student has an active IEP or 504 and they receive testing accommodations, you may contact Emily Draper to request accommodations for both of these exams. And if you've already completed the process in the past, you do not have to complete it again. And so moving on, so the free application for student aid, also known as the FAFSA, must be completed annually if your student is attending any post-secondary institution. So usually the application opens December the 1st, and the FAFSA provides various types of aid in the forms of grants, scholarships, work study, and a student loan. So prior to starting the application, parents and students both must establish an FSA ID. It takes approximately 3 days to receive this information. So each year we will host the FAFSA sessions in January if you need additional assistance with the application. Next slide. So we do our best to keep our website updated with scholarship information. Scholarship applications usually open in October, and there are numerous scholarship options available, including local scholarships like, GCPS Foundation scholarships and PTSA scholarships that are given annually. So many scholarships go unclaimed every single year because students do not apply. So we highly encourage and recommend your students to take advantage of the free money that is available. And then Ms. Young will speak next regarding the Hope Scholarship in Zell Miller.
Thank you, Dr. Jackson. So I'm Miss Young, and I'm going to go over some of the biggest scholarship and grants. So there's the Hope Scholarship, and it covers about 80 to 90% of tuition at 2 to 4 year colleges in Georgia. So you have to have a minimum of a 3.0 GPA in your core classes. So that is not exactly the same GPA that's going to be on your transcript, but in order to figure out what your core classes is you're going to look for your Hope GPA on Georgia Futures. Also on georgiafutures.org, you can find out how much money will be awarded by each college. And then there's also the Zell Miller Scholarship, which covers full tuition at 2 to 4 year colleges in Georgia. You have to have a 3.7 GPA. Again, this is going to be your Hope GPA. And then you also have to have SAT combined score of a 1200 in math and reading in one sitting, or an ACT score of 26 or higher. And then, as Ms. Hatcher said earlier, the Hope and Zell Miller grants for students that are in technical or interested in going to technical colleges, and there's no minimum high school GPA for that. And most importantly, we need to make sure that we have your students' social security number. So as we meet with them to go over junior meeting stuff, we will let them know if they have a social security number on file or not. If they don't, we really need that. You can either bring in, their student can bring in their actual card and we'll make a copy of it, or they can bring in a copy themselves. But this way, we have it in the system ready for senior year. Plus, you can go ahead and start checking what your Hope GPA is. And Naviance. So I am actually in charge of Naviance. So this is a program that all students in Gwinnett County have access to through their student portal, and it has so many valuable college and career planning tools. So here's some of the things that it helps us with. So we are able to, as counselors, send transcripts and letters of recommendation through Naviance. Students are able to log in and search different colleges based on different criteria. So they're able to put in GPA, test scores, what kind of sports, athletics they might want at the college, where in the United States they may want to go, and it will match them. You can compare college details and cost. You can take virtual college visits, which is pretty awesome. You can explore different career options, and they also have assessments that you can take that will match your student's personality and interests to different career fields. And it can also help you create a resume. So if your student is having any issues at all logging into the Naviance, if they can just contact me, Miss Young, I can help them get in. So additional resources, please check out the Second Year High School counseling page. We have tons of information on there, all about college and career planning, FAFSA, scholarships, and how to send transcripts. And so please utilize that. And then, of course, there is Georgia Futures, which I said earlier, can help them find out what their Hope GPA is. And also on the next slide, Georgia Futures has this awesome junior and senior checklist. So this PowerPoint will be posted on our webpage. And so if you click on the image, it will actually take you to georgiafutures.org so you can read this closely. And it also has a bunch of videos that will help you walk through each individual point to show you how to complete the checklist. And it has it for every grade level. So go ahead and check out 11th grade now. And if you want to get ahead, go ahead and check out the 12th grade checklist as well. So I just want to thank you guys for being here. I encourage you to go through the presentation with your 11th grader so that when we start to meet over the next couple weeks, your student can bring in a list of any questions you have. We appreciate you guys being here with us, and I hope everybody stays warm.